So did you have to take vaccines, or what type of injections do you need to go to these other countries? Oh, how did you find out?
I guess you go to this website,
Passport Health?
Passport Health, and you just pop in the country that you're visiting, and it tells you like which vaccines you need to get. You don't have to get every vaccine, but I know certain countries do mandate, right, certain vaccines. Like, for instance, South Africa mandates the yellow fever, or Kenya mandates the yellow fever, something like that. Don't take our word for it. But, so you go to that website, and you just pop in the country. So for us, it was Mozambique, and it shows you which vaccines we need to take. I don't know which ones we took. We took a whole bunch.
Yeah. But you're not out alone, because you have... At Passport Health, I could talk about them because they've been
really
great
good
with the consultation, but they'll give you all list of disease that you could possibly contract in that area.
It's actually like a consultation, right?
You
sit down with them, and they say, where are you going? And then you tell them, and then they list it all out for you.
Yeah, and they tell you all the vaccines that you could get, and then they'll administer the vaccine. But it is quite pricey. Some vaccines could range from $300 to $500, and sometimes you have to take multiple times. So if you take one shot of a vaccine, you have to take another one like a month later.
Yeah, we did the Hep A, Hep B one.
Yeah.
So that was like one shot, and then we had to wait
like a month or
and
a few weeks. I'm not too sure.
So basically, like, give yourself time for when you are going to travel. Don't wait till like the week before and say, oh, I need to get the vaccines. And it's like, oh, wait, there's a time frame for that. Also, not everyone carries the vaccines. Like CVS and Walgreens, and they carry certain ones. And for instance, we had to get the yellow fever one, and nobody carried it.
Yes.
And so we had to go to one specific location that did carry it. So it takes time.
Passport Health.
Passport Health was really good.
But here's another tip for, like, let's say you want like something that's budget friendly or cheaper. You might want to check Passport Health. They're very great, but it tends to be more expensive. But if money's not an option for you and you want your one-stop shop, I would say go there. But if you want something, if you know the vaccines that you have to get, because sometimes they'll just require like maybe one or two vaccines, I do recommend checking Walmart, their pharmacy department. It has been the cheapest that I've seen it. Or you could try CVS and Walgreens, and always remember you want to call them and set up an appointment, because a lot of times it's not by walk-in. You might have to create an appointment. One thing we've learned where is a good starting point is our Facebook groups. There are communities with specifically for a lot of expats or someone from the United States or wherever country that you're coming from, and they'll give you a lot of valuable information that you will know that maybe people who live there might not understand the cultural context.
There's several Facebook groups that you can just check out and see what events they're having over there, and also just like even meetups sometimes, and also like they sell stuff just like here. Like, you want to be a part of a community, they have that same concept there.
Another thing about Facebook groups that I like, you mentioned about you could purchase stuff. It could be really, really to your advantage to purchase stuff. You might say to yourself, well, I don't buy used stuff. Always do your investigation to the country that you're about to visit or you're about to have an extended stay, because when it comes to buying furniture or electrical, sometimes it could be way more expensive than you're used to inside the United States, and sometimes it's not very available, because let's face it, in the United States we have things like Amazon or Walmart. Everything's close and available to us, but when you live in another country, it could be very different, very challenging
and expensive,
and sometimes 2 or 3 times the price. So it could be an advantage if you are within a Facebook group and you purchase from different foreigners.
Yeah, I know that's helped us a whole lot, especially people who are moving, because a lot of people do like live there temporarily and they move and they just put their stuff on there to sell, and they just sell it secondhand. Like, you could buy a couch for a lot cheaper, you could buy a whole bunch of stuff for a whole lot cheaper. Like, for us, it helped us a lot because we had to buy our stuff in South Africa and then get it transported in, and it cost a whole lot. So yeah, that really did help us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so one of the things that we've tried doing now, which I wish we did before, was looking into best travel cards.
And Dave Ramsey, he'll hate you if he talks about this, because he's like,
do
not use a credit card.
But this time, our good friend told us about benefits of traveling with cards. Why?
Yeah, credit cards.
credit cards because of point systems that help you out, and it goes in your favor. And he kind of gave us a whole lesson about it, which was pretty cool. Obviously, be smart about your spending and don't spend.
The credit cards. Let's go back a little bit. The reason why we have international credit cards is, one, it works really, really well when you're traveling internationally, right, compared to a bank. And two, if there's any fraud or anything happening, it's much easier to fight it with your credit card than your bank, because if something happens like fraud-wise, they'll lock down your whole bank and then you can't access money. I feel as though it's much more convenient when it comes to fighting fraud with the credit card.
And that's happened to us in Mozambique, right?
Yeah, it has happened to us. Like a month or two into it, my card has been hacked into. They've been trying to use it, and then they had to internationally ship my debit card. So
thank you, DHL.
Yes, thank you, DHL. But so the reason why we have credit card is because if you're going to go out and you're going to travel business wise, or if you're going out for business purposes and for work expense related stuff, it's much easier to have a credit card because it's easier to expense, because that card is just dedicated alone for work expense.
And you get benefits from using it. The more points you accumulate, the more benefits, right? So we currently have the IHG.
Yeah. Some is an IHG from Chase.
And pretty much if you stay at certain hotels.
Well, Holiday Inn hotels.
Well, yeah.
Yes. Because you can't go to any hotel
and
get points.
You have to be specific hotels.
Yeah.
Look into it, IHG.
IHG.
It's really good. So if you stay at these certain hotels, you get more point system, and you can eventually get free stays, which we did. We're able to do that.
And there's other great cards out there, like the Sapphire card or the Delta or the United Airlines. You just look into it. If you're just using your bank card and you're using it for business expense, you could be missing out on a lot of perks that you could be taking advantage. For example, once again, IHG, we're traveling through the United States a lot. We do a lot of road traveling. We personally like Holiday Inn hotels. So when we use it for business purposes, we get points, and by the end of it, you could kind of make like a vacation out of it, or you could use those points and replenish those points.
So yeah, there's definitely other cards. I think we're also going to be looking into the Sapphire one, which is good for flights and travel, and there's a lot of perks into that as well. So honestly, it really depends on like what you do, if you like hotels more and you travel more in the States and stuff like that.
Or perhaps you have a vacation once a year. You could use that for yourself.
When you have enough accumulated
When
points.
You've accumulated enough of points, or it could kind of offset it at the same time. Also, sometimes personal things happen, family emergency, whatever, and you might need a hotel, and you could use those points. But the one thing that I found that we are kind of limited, where there's certain places or locations that, let's say you want to travel outside the country, you want to go to Dominican Republic, you want to have something a little bit more exotic. IHG, I feel as though is kind of like limited. I would also recommend looking into maybe Hilton. I think there's a Hilton card that you could look into, and there's a much more wide variety of choices when it comes to doing like resorts.
So just find the right card for you.
Yes.
Also, another thing is it's good to carry cash. Wherever you go, carry cash, and then when you're in the country that you're in, see if you can get it exchanged, right?
Yeah, so this is if you are really familiar with the locals, you have friends and families that are in the place that you're going to. I wouldn't just say go to just anywhere and have US dollars, but tell us about the time when we went to Argentina.
So we went to visit our family in Argentina. It's better to carry cash with you than constantly just like taking money out of the ATM, because then you're being charged a transaction fee. So if you bring cash and you trust somebody that can exchange that for you, you get it at a way cheaper exchange rate.
And at the exchange tables that they have, they rip you off.
If you go to those, the
stores.
The stores and stuff. But obviously you go to somebody you trust that can exchange that for you.
And there's an app that's called like Exchange app, or you could go to Google and you could just simply put $1 to whatever currency that you're trying to go to, and it tells you the up-to-date cash currency. But the cool thing about Argentina was we have friends and family where the exchange rate on a debit card, right? You can use your debit card and it's at one price in Argentina, but when we exchanged it with a family member, they gave us more bang for our buck. So sometimes you could get better rate when you trust a family member or a friend.
Yes. Also, like same thing in Mozambique, like whenever you take money out and stuff constantly, you're always going to be charged
a transaction fee.
Yeah. And so that like if you do that enough, it does hurt.
But I did hear that transaction fees, there's some credit cards that cover the transaction fees. So, once again, look at that.
And also there's credit cards that do not charge international fees.
Here's something that just popped up in my mind. When you have a debit card, you go to ATM and then you withdraw money. Always make sure you write USD and not write the conversion.
Oh yeah, because they do ask you, right?
Yes.
USD or...
So the currency that we use in Mozambique is MZM or medicals, right? So it says, oh, do you want to take out 4,000 medicals? And you say, okay, yeah, sure, that's what I want. But what you want to do is you say, no, you want to take out based off of 20 USD. You don't want that conversion to happen because they charge you twice, kind of. So they'll charge you at the ATM for a conversion fee, and then your bank charges you again for a conversion fee. And sometimes you pay twice as much than you already should. And this happens to not even just in Mozambique, but in Portugal as well. So if you're at an ATM, make sure you're doing it at the currency where your bank is, wherever you live at.